More or Nothing.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Maul or Nothing with Ryan and Max, and we will be joined as well by none other than victorious Glasgow Warriors centre and Scotland centre, Sione Tuipulotu, to get his take on what was a fabulous result over in Ireland. And Ryan Wilson, we will start with you, the cat that got the cream, and also got himself in a bit of spot of bother.
It was always going to happen, wasn't it? I was heading down to Limerick, so we know that they don't like me much down there, and it proved to be the same. Nothing has changed. They still despise me. I got dog's abuse, Max, like constantly. It was, you know what? Part of me was like quite proud. There was obviously some fans that were. It was jovial. They were having a good time. It was light-hearted, bit of banter. But there were some of the fans that clearly don't like me a little bit more. Like proper, like, Ryan Wilson, you're a fucking prick. And like, just finger out, staring at me. And I was looking at him thinking, blood, yeah, like properly despise me. But it's all a game at the end of the day, isn't it? It's all a game.
Tell us about the fun. Come on, there was a fun little gang you were telling me about afterwards who went right at you, and they went for us, Max. They went for us. They went for us as a podcast. Do you know what? There was quite a few little bits.
What did they say?
Well, I was chatting to Zeebs after, and obviously, genuinely, like went up to Zeebs and caught up with him after. I was like, mate, I am genuinely going for him because he's my mate. And he was like, oh, fuck off, I was like, no, I'm serious, like, mate. What? It's not the way you wanted to go out. Like, what a career. And he's been amazing for Munster. But, like, the crowd's emptied out. And there's probably, like, 7 people left up in the stands there. You could see them up in the hospitality bit. They'd obviously been giving it constantly. And they're giving it, Zebo. And then as I'm walking in after the game, they've seen me and gone, Ryan Wilson. I was like, right, boys, like, thumbs up, trying to be nice. And they've gone, your podcast is fucking shit. And so I've obviously replied with, well, your fucking team's shite, boys. And you should see their faces. They're like, what do they come back to that? You've just been knocked out, fellas. Enjoy next week. Not. I went down like a shit sandwich. But, yeah, there was a few of those. But, a little bit of hostility on the bench. Basically, I can't get myself in trouble too much here. But long story short, all right, I finished the punditry bit, and it was hectic. There was a lot of pundits there. There was David Wallace, there was Stephen Ferris, there was Tom Shanklin, Barks, myself. It was mental. So at the end of the bit, I said, listen, boys, where are we going to watch it? And they went, we'll probably watch it in the media room. I'm like, no, I ain't watching it in the media room. Have we got somewhere to sit? And we'd already been told by Munster, Ryan Wilson can't do the bit with the fans. So they didn't want me in with the fans. I think it was more to do with my safety, which is fine. I completely get that. Like, it could have been dangerous. But I was up for it. It would have been a good laugh. But they said, we can't control some fans or whatever. And no, we're not going there. So fine, fair enough. They didn't have anywhere for me to sit. So I said, you know what? I'll sit on the bench with the boys. So I went and sat in the dugout with the Glasgow boys. Right? Nothing wrong with that, Max. I'm still travel with the team places now and then. Yes, I'm working on the TV. And I'm cheering like I would normally cheer for Glasgow, whether I was on the bench with the boys or whether I was just behind them in the stands. So I'm giving it, when they're banging boys, like, come on, like cheering. Well, some of the Munster bench or Munster management, I'm not sure who they were, didn't really like it, didn't agree with it. And I could see him pointing and like getting the match officials and pointing. And I'm like, what's going on here? They basically tried to remove me off of the bench because the woman came over and was like, sorry, but why are you sat on the bench? I thought you were on the TV. And I said, well, no, I work for Glasgow Warriors. I'm here. I work in the commercial team at Glasgow Warriors. And she said, yeah, but are you not on the TV? And I said, well, yeah, I am, but I also work for Glasgow. So whilst I'm not on the TV, I'm going to come down and sit here with the boys. Well, they didn't like that, did they? And they said that they were like, no, you can't be there. There's a semi-final going on and you're worried about me. Just worry about the game. Maybe that's where they went wrong. Or should we talk about the sign, Max? Did you see the sign that went up?
Ryan, you can see how that's a problem, can't you? Please tell me you can. Please tell me. Surely you can see how that's a conflict of interest at that moment.
But why? I'm a Glasgow Warriors supporter. Yes, I work
You're
on the
not there as
TV.
a Glasgow Warrior employee, are you? You're there as a pundit.
Yeah, and a pundit that supports Glasgow Warriors.
No, the pundit in a knockout game of rugby has to show an element of non-bias. He has to be neutral.
If you had played at a club for 14 years and you had only 7-8 months ago left that club,
Yes, I
and were still
understand.
involved there, you can't hide the fact that you still support that club. And not only that, the fact they were playing against Munster.
Yes, but you. I know, but you enjoy being the villain too much at Thomond Park.
Your claim of I was just doing the normal stuff, mate. You're just drawing the anger straight to you. It was so clear. Also,
Well-
I love how, mate, the way your sentiment of saying maybe they should concentrate less on me and more on the game. I mean, come on.
Okay, no, that's too much. But Max, did you see what happened before the game? They'd obviously testing out the big screen, and after Bulls had done the job on Leinster, they put up Munster versus Bulls final at Thomond Park.
I
on the big
did
screen.
see this meme. I also heard that it was a mistake on whoever was running the screen's behalf.
It's a bad mistake to make at a bad
It
time.
is a bad. It is, no, don't get me wrong. It's a bad mistake. But I heard that Munster were very gracious to Glasgow's victory.
Oh, did you? You heard that, did you? Were you?
I bet Wilson refuses to hear it. Come on.
I mean, they're never going to be gracious to you, Ryan. But
I don't think they were that gracious. Well, we'll find out in a minute with Big Nonz when he comes on. But it was a good day out. I loved it. I was due to sort of stay there and then travel up to Dublin and fly back the next morning. But thank God I got out of there quick. I was on the charter flight with the boys on the way back, so added injury to insult. But it was a good day, and the boys deserve it. They were incredible. And we're going to get onto the game in a minute, but I want to find out quickly more about this bloke because he's been MIA again. He's been MIA. You're turning into me, Max. If you didn't play rugby professionally, you'd be on a slippery slope as well. On the piss again this weekend, were you?
yes, I had to send off my good friend Edward Holmes into the blessed bonds of matrimony. We took our way to Malaga, Marbella. What a lovely spot.
Marbella, Max in
Impeccable
Marbella.
weather and just perpetual alcohol in abundance. It was, lads, I could do with the ground swallowing me up right now. Just having a hangover on hangover. It's my God, it's a nightmare. But we're almost through it, and feeling somewhat perkier. But oh Lord above, yesterday darkness all around me, journeying through the dark lands of Mordor. It was horrible.
What time
It's
did
never
your
good.
flight back?
What time was your flight back? But equally, I saw you were there with Magnus Bradbury, which means things went south.
My God, the Bradberian was very, very funny. Magnus Bradberian was. I've never laughed so much. Oh God, my guts hurt watching that, man. But yeah, great crack, all in all. Loose lips sink ships and all that, though, gents. So onwards and upwards.
Who else was on the stag?
I'd rather not reveal that. There's some.
Well, you bumped into some Cardiff players though, and you bumped into Gareth Anscombe.
Yeah, Chicken was there. He's a lovely man, really nice.
He is a nice bloke.
Ellis Jenkins was also on his stag. He had a good send off.
When stags collide, can you imagine it?
Yeah. You man.
No carbs. You're the definition of no carbs before marbs, especially after the kits off thing. I'm surprised people will be climbing into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, pool parties, anything like that. Marbella's not really your scene though, is it? Like you said, South Korea to Marbella. It's just
It's
not
a
the
little
way it
bit
goes.
different, isn't it? It's a contrast. That was all right. It was what it needed to be. It's a land of sincere hedonism, isn't it, Marbella? So it was a bit fun. A lot of money around. Some big whips. It's like this strange little kind of Dubai
Essex.
of Europe. Yeah, very.
It's not.
Essex.
It's like the Essex of Europe. Of Essex of holiday town. It's a bit weird. I don't like it.
It was an experience. Put it that way.
Well, we are delighted to be joined by what I'm sure is a very happy Sione Tuipulotu on his way to the next stage because of what happened over the weekend.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Is that it? Is that all we're getting off you? Just thanks for having me. Nonz, talk. Come on, like what?
Embellish us in your victory.
What about the weekend?
Don't be provocative, Wills.
Oh, mate, he has been terrible, Nonz. You missed it. He was awful, brother.
I'm keep looking over my shoulder because I feel like Franco is just lurking.
I did just message Craig from the media team and said, by the way, we've got Nonz on the podcast. He said he literally just told me he didn't want to do any media this week, and I was like, that's all right. He's coming on for 5 minutes.
Well, because after the game, Craig came into the change room, was like, the media wants to speak to you. And I just said, I don't really want to speak to the media. And then he's gonna, like you said, you just told him that I'll come on your show.
Hey, so where are you? You're already... So I was obviously on the charter flight back with you boys, managed to clamber on, pretty much got put in the engine, but landed... When did we land? Like Sunday morning-ish, 1 o'clock. You've had 24 hours at home, and then where are you now? You're in the airport.
Yeah, we're in Glasgow Airport. We're heading off to Dubai first, and then off to South Africa. So it's been funny since we got to the airport because it's the classic. There's only 10 business seats, so just sort yourselves out. So I love the chaos. I'm just stirring the pot in there. Because Smart ended up with not a business class, which is obviously forbidden. So I was just going past Murphy and stuff, being like, "Hey mate, like I think it's probably right for you to pass it over to Richie, like."
Yeah, for those that don't know, Suave is Richie Gray, who's the world's tallest man. So he should be. But Stano actually messaged me because I said, "Oh, listen, we're sorting Nonz out," because I was asking what you boys are up to. He was asking if I'm heading out there, which I am. I'm coming out Wednesday night, so don't worry, I'll be there. But Stano was like, no, Nonz is having a chat with a few of the young boys because they designated the seats just randomly business class, and some of the young boys had ended up with them.
So it's right, yeah, it's random. It's random, and also like with the front row boys who put in an absolute shift on the weekend, like Xander and to play 80 minutes. And then there's got a few of the younger boys got one, so it's always fun just to see the chaos start brewing.
Establish the hierarchy, boys.
Oh man, if I was there, I would be laying down the order.
You remember what happened last time, Wills?
Oh man, I was at I wound up the manager that much that he literally wanted to fight me when he got on the plane. It was carnage. So that's it. But what's even better is. This is it. It's like slapdash. You've just beaten Munster. I walk into the changing room. The manager's there trying to book flights on a computer. You've got to get all the players down to Pretoria. And Nonz, up until about, an hour and a half ago, thought he was flying via London. And he texted me just before saying, I'm going to Dubai.
I said to him, "Oh, hey, bro, I'll hit you up when we get to London. Maybe we can do the call there." And then I got on the bus and the boy's like, "We're going to Dubai, you idiot."
Oh man, amazing. Right, Nonz, we can't talk about the airport the whole time. Let's go back to that game because I spoke on the TV, like everyone's talking about it. What a shift from the boys. Not just the boys, there was a few stand-up performers. I know you won't want us to say it, but you were one of them. You just kept them going. That you bowl in Putamani was probably my favourite point of the whole season. But talk to me about the game. Massive, eh?
Oh, mate, it was massive. To be honest, I kind of felt something was brewing earlier in the week when we were, when we're huddling up on Monday and Tuesday. I just felt like there was a huge amount of self-belief that had been built, in the Stormers game. And there was also a large group of the boys who had gone to Thomond Park the year before and had a really good game there. So we knew we could do it. But I suppose, it was more about just going there and, to be honest, we didn't actually start that well and we had to weather, a couple yellow cards. But to find all those things about our team in the game is what makes us stronger. So I kind of feel like we're popping out of this game stronger than we popped out of the Stormers game.
Yeah, too right. Like Mark and Max, I don't know whether you watched it, but 2 yellow cards, so 20 minutes down to 14 men. Like that period from, I think it was 15 minutes to 25 minutes when I think it was Richie Gray's yellow card. Like they would get into the 22 and find a way to get out. But that's what I was talking about with Franco, like on the TV after. Like the fact that people had almost written Glasgow off towards the end of the season, 2 losses in South Africa, then sort of scraped through against Zebre. And as we were saying, like, that's Zebre at home in the last game of the season. There's quarterfinals coming up, and then with that Stormers game building nicely into the Munster game winning away, that must give the boys confidence going down to South Africa this weekend.
Yeah, massively, Wilson. I kind of feel like you can only kind of get that confidence through like a victory or a game, you know what I mean? Like you can do all the training you want, or even any some of the round games and stuff like that. They don't really count until you kind of prove it for when it counts. So for this team, we've proved it to ourselves in the last couple of weeks. But to be honest, after the Munster game, yeah, you were there, Wilson, we were playing back. I remember landing and I got home to Lara and the wee one, and I was just kind of like, well, that's kind of done now, you know, it's kind of short-lived. And to be fair to Munster, you know, they knocked us out last year in the quarter, but they actually went on to win it. So, you know, it kind of feels like it's not really a thing without the ring. So, we know there's one more week.
It's not a thing without the ring. There it is.
That's a good one.
Nonz, have you had a chance to watch the game back, or even just the highlights yet?
We watched a little bit this morning, but to be honest, when I got home from, on the flight, we walked in at like 1:30, and, my Mrs. Lara just had a baby. Well, we had a baby, earlier in the week. So yeah, I was kind of, thank you. Yes, it was a massive week for me, but, so I was straight on duty when I got home, and to be honest, I didn't sleep till 6 a.m. because I was still like, the adrenaline was running through my veins. And then also the little one wasn't letting me put my head down either. So, no, it was actually really nice to spend that 5 hours or whatever, 6 hours, with him overnight, just because I hadn't spent much time with him before we went away.
Do you know, just quickly, like, walking into the change room after, we obviously did all the stuff. And even, I think it was Stephen Ferris that might have said it after the game, was like, you look at Glasgow, there wasn't that big of celebrations. You've just beaten Munster at Thomond Park in a semi-final, and it was almost like there wasn't huge celebrations. It was just like, right, that's that job done. We've got a bigger job to do. And I even felt that when I went into the change room, I'm ready to come in with a beer, like, yeah! And everyone's just sort of sat around pretty cool, calm, and I'm like, hold on a minute. But that, for me, shows, yeah, this is a team that's like, that's the job that's done. We're going to South Africa. That's the trophy we're going for.
Yeah, it was a weird one, wasn't it, Lewis? But I think that's a good thing. And I think it's more just because we kind of already knew the result that happened before us. I kind of think there was always a thing in the boys' back of the mind that there's such a big task ahead of us, to travel to Loftus and to beat a team that kind of, well, I suppose just beat their team. You know what I mean? So there was that always in the back of our mind. So I think that contributed massively to the mood. But I think that's a good thing to keep our feet on the ground and know the job's not done.
Did enjoy your celebrations. I don't know if you've rewatched the bit when Seb Cancellieri scores and everyone's running towards each other, and Nonz is just sort of clapping everybody around, but just going round clapping. And you rewatch it, I was like, oh, energy. Good hype man work there.
Energy.
Yeah, there was a couple of Munster boys on the ground around me at that point, so I think that maybe it was who I was clapping at.
Let's pretend I wasn't there. You know, what was it like in the game against Munster? Like, was there much chat going on?
There was some colourful language out there, to be fair. But we always expected that, Wilson, as you know. And to be honest, for me, anyways, it makes the game so fun when it's like that. It kind of feels like club, like when you're a kid, like under 12, under 14. It kind of has that club rugby feel about it when, boys are talking shit, and it just got that vibe about it. So I really loved it when they started talking, because it then gives me the license to talk. So I was loving it.
I was putting shackles on the bench. Like, I was telling these boys about the situation of me sitting in the dugout with the boys, which Max thinks I shouldn't have. He thinks it was wrong. But I said, listen, I'm a Glasgow Warrior fan. Like, through and through. So, yeah, I was in shackles. And then that moment where Matt Fagerson gets the yellow card and he's put the shot into Peter O'Mahony's face, and Peter O'Mahony stood there. I was almost like a proud dad when Matt stood over Peter O'Mahony and like squared up to him. It was like I was a proud father, and it was only about 5 meters away from me. I was thinking, what I'd do to climb in there, what I would do. But that would be too far, Max, wouldn't it? That would have been too far.
Oh my God, you are a nightmare, brother.
Imagine Premier Sports. Premier Sports are like, is that Ryan Wilson in the middle of the... Because it happened last year, didn't it, Nonz, when I was Waterboy?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about next week, though. The Bulls, Pretoria. Oh, the altitude, 1,350 metres, it matters. How are the boys feeling? Because there's not been a lot of time to sort of reflect on that game and look forward to this game. Like, what's the crack?
Yeah, I think we've got the slight advantage of we've just been there. We've kind of experienced Loftus, and although we didn't win the game, we had some good moments in the game. But I think that's an advantage. We've just been there, so we have experience of playing there. But to be honest, I don't think the game's going to be anything like the game that we played them last time. It's going to be a different intensity, obviously a lot more on the line. And as you saw from their game against Leinster, they're a passionate group who care deeply about their club. So, we've got a matched up. And I know we've got boys in the change room that are passionate about our team as well. So, mate, it's going to be a lot of fun.
How good are they going to be? I mean, you won't want to think of that at this very moment, but you are just 180-minute game away from a massive celebration out in South Africa, right?
Yeah, we are. I'm sure the boys haven't spoken about that, but I'm sure everyone has it in their minds that, if we can get the job done over there, that we'll all be together, away from home, for at least a night, hopefully celebrating.
Who's in charge? Have you put some money aside? Because the boys were saying, like Max was saying, just as you get to the end of the season, fines start increasing just to kind of get the kitty up and running, even bigger kind of thing. Is that going as we speak?
To be honest, I was saying this to the boys before the Stormers game, because only the 2 years previously that I've been involved with Glasgow, we kind of get to that part of the end of that season, that quarterfinal time, stuff like that, and boys are talking about Mad Monday, and it's like, well, wait a minute, like, we're supposed to be trying to win the, you know what I mean? Like,
you want to be a bit careful about Mad Monday. Yeah,
exactly. But this year, there actually has been, no talk about Mad Monday, and I think that's a good thing, because boys are so yeah, exactly. We've got bad influences around. But I'm sure something will be organised, but it's definitely not in the forefront of anyone's mind.
Oh, I'll be there with you celebrating though, if and when, because as soon as they were like, Premier Sport, like, we've got the game on in Dublin, so it's, you'll be able to do it at the studio. I'm like, but there is no chance. I'm getting out of South Africa anywhere I can, even if I'm paying for myself. But big shout out to the URC taking Willie Sonny over there to celebrate with the boys.
As far as we can tell, you're not being cut out of it after your antics at Thomond Park.
No, boys, it was fine. Was fine.
How do you keep your job, bro? Like,
it was just Munster being petty. That's all it was. Premier Sport are fine with it, and there was no issues. Nonz, is the whole squad there, or is it been split up at the moment?
I think no, definitely split up. There's some boys flying out today. There's some boys flying tomorrow. But I think the large amount of us, I think there's like 23 or 24 of us flying out today, and then 7 or 8 will come tomorrow.
What's the rule, guys? So you're flying up front, right, with a couple of the younger lads as well. But if you fly up front on the way out, on the way back, does that mean you definitely don't get a seat?
I think win or lose, there's not much sitting down on that flight anyway. So, I don't think anyone's really concerned about who's sitting in business on the way back.
Yeah, no one's going to remember that flight back. No one's going to remember that flight back at all.
Personally, from your perspective, Sione, after, we don't want to look too far ahead, but you've also got still a bit of a busy summer, or what are we thinking?
Yeah, I've got I talked to Gregory this morning actually, and just about the tour and everything, and he said obviously that they've got to change the plan a little bit around because we're in the final now, we're traveling to South Africa, so I think maybe we won't be at training next week, but then the week after that I'll be flying out to the States, and hopefully I think it'll be awesome. I've never been over to America or anything like that, so to experience something over there, eat maybe some American food, and enjoy even American sports and stuff like that. I'm pretty keen to get over there, and then obviously the big test match against the USA. So I'm looking forward to the summer, but it has been a long season. But I know in the back of my mind there's only two or three games left, and can come home and enjoy some time with TJ and Lara.
Who's very patient other half. I think Lara must be incredibly patient. You've had like 6 hours, newborn baby. They're like, see ya, I'm heading off in business class. Bye.
Yeah, she wasn't. I remember we came back from. I fell with this. We came back from Munster, and I was just thinking. Lara was just when I walked in the door. She was like, "Oh yeah, so you guys are leaving at the back end of the week?" And then I had to just tell her, "Where are we leaving tomorrow?"
Nonz, just another quick one as well. There's a traitor in the family. Talking to family, he's coming over to Edinburgh. Mate, have you had a word with your brother yet? Can you believe this man's brother is signed for Edinburgh and he's going for his jersey? He's going for his Scotland jersey.
Oh, it's very deep.
Yeah. Can you imagine when you boys clash in the 1872 Cup?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I know he's looking forward to it as well. And it's actually funny how it's all worked out when he's going over to Edinburgh because just to give you a little background, he's kind of like the Scar Lion King, you know what I mean? That's what everyone calls him. So the fact that
Scar ends up killing Mufasa, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. And so, so he's so he's kind of fulfilled his role by going over to Edinburgh. And I know he's happy about it as well.
What's the age difference?
Forward to it. He's 4 years younger than me. So, I've got another one under him that's 3 years younger than him. So I'm hoping that my littlest brother comes over as well and chooses the light side of things.
Well, when we spoke to you during the Six Nations, though, we Ryan, you were trying to persuade Nonz. You were saying like, get your brother over, we'll have like the whole family, and then actually you've sort of done it, but now he's just going to be a direct competitor in your life.
Yeah. He's been a direct competitor in my life for his whole life, to be fair. So nothing's gonna really change. But it's gonna be awesome to have him in Scotland because obviously with my wee one, and I know he'll be down there mode as much as possible and spend as much weekends over with him and Lara.
Oh, I know. Is Jamie Batty still next to you?
No, he's left now. I think he's upset because he's got his business.
Oh, because I was going to say get your top off. Let us see, because that's what props do. We want to see if they all look like Max now, but I knew he'd be keen for it. He's got the belly tats.
You only see Batman's wrong tattoos.
Oh, Nonz, we better let you get off, man, because you got a big old final and a big old flight coming up to Dubai. Bro, I'll see you out there on Thursday when I get over there, but I cannot wait, and I know that. These boys, you two are supporting Glasgow this week, aren't you?
Yeah, of course we are. Every week, mate. Every week.
Here we go.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Go well, Nonz.
Cheers.
Thanks.
See you soon, brother. Well, gents, lovely. On that note, I'm going to take this opportunity to say a massive thank you to our sponsor that has been with us all the way. It's nearing the end of the season. There's going to be some beautiful little bits of content coming out. We're meant to be meeting up this week if we can arrange our schedules. But Wolf Craig have been with us all the way. You can head over to the website, Max, which is
wolfcraig.com.
You can jump over there. We're going to chuck it in the link tree. You can also find the link in there, which is a £35 Wolf Pack memberships just for Maul or Nothing listeners. Go and buy that. You get wonderful little treats, and we're going to be adding bits of content to that. But a huge thank you to Wolf Craig Distillers for their continued support. What a man.
Cheers. What's up, man? Well, let's
boys, just like on Nonz, like this season, everyone talks him up like that centre partnership, but he was a wrecking ball at the weekend. And not just the way he defended, the way he carried, but I'm telling you now, if you look back and you watch the game back as a centre, what they do is his work rate is absolutely incredible. Like, he'll go around the corner, but then the work rate to get back in defence, because every time Munster then came back and they tried to get to the edge, he would fill in and they would just ease them off to the edge and go after the ball. He was up there. He was incredible. Like he mentioned, Xander Fakeson put in a serious shift. Tom Jordan, another one. Like, he's not a household name. He's not a person that gets spoken about all the time, but honestly, banging boys for fun during the game. Controlled the game really well at 10 and was getting turnovers like you've never seen as well. So there was some
Wills, with that, I mean, you talk Tom Jordan, and he started what would effectively ended up being the winning try, effectively, and at that point, were you guys down to 14 men still? I think when he ran the ball back from the 22, which again shows the kind of attacking mindset that the team have as a whole. But how often do we see Hugh Jones make that sort of break?
He like relatively quiet for the game was Shuggy, but he's one of those players that just has 2 or 3 moments of brilliance in a game, and that's all you need him for. Like, that's why he's there. And you've got to feel for someone like Stafford McDowell, played every single minute of the URC, right up until he cut his hand over, playing against the Bulls, I think it was, sliced his hand open. It was awful. He reckons there was potentially a stud, but he said there was bits of sprinkler hanging up out the floor at the thing, so he didn't know what it had come from, but it got infected. So you've got to feel for him. But yeah, when Shaggy wants to turn it on, when Hugh Jones wants to turn it on, when Tuipulotu wants to turn it on, yeah, there they are. So they'll need them this weekend going up against the Bulls. But there was a few moments in the game where, I was in that dugout wanting to climb into the pitch. Before the game, the Munster fans were in there real early as well, like giving it large, like singing. The atmosphere before was just so good, and honestly, it was one of those ones where you're just like, this is why I miss it. This is why I miss it. What I would have done to be in that changing room before that game, just building up to play against Munster. And then honestly, when Matt Fagerson, yellow card or not, people are going, it's a red. Tom Shanklin, mate, why? It could have been a red card swinging up. No, it wasn't. It was lucky to be a yellow. But the way he just stood over him. And there's been a few things saying, seeing Peter O'Mahony get stood down by someone like Matt Fagerson. He was like milking stuff. Listen, I love you, Peter. We're mates now. Well,
I did hear a bit about that. Yeah, I heard he was... There was some stuff on Twitter saying that.
Yeah, he like someone knocked him out the back of a ruck and he fell over. He was like,
it's all about the gamesmanship.
I know, but it's a shame, isn't it? And you don't expect someone like that to play that way, though. He never used to do that. He would always stand up and fight, as they say. But yeah,
oh my god,
I just despair at the volume of our Ireland fans who are just sat here hating on Wilson so much, because I
didn't realise how many of them there were. Like, there was a lot of Munster fans talking about the podcast. Now I don't know if they listen or they just wanted to abuse us, but there was a few. But yeah, and Nonz at one point, I seen him bowl Peter O'Mahony, and you could see Stan giving him lift, and they were just going forward and backwards. And I'd been told off by that point, so I had to sort of rein it in a little bit. So
you couldn't do anything.
I love that he was clapping the guys on the. It makes so much sense now, because when you rewatch the highlights, I genuinely laughed out loud, because it's like he just looks like a little running around the thing. But actually, if there were guys on the floor, that would be so annoying.
It is funny when the sledge talking starts happening. It gets some boys more invested on it. The ego starts to kick in, and then you're really emotionally invested as it gets a little bit more aggressive. Tackles become a little harder.
Do you agree, though, that what Nonz was saying, that it kind of harks back to that club, or even he was saying like under 14s, where as soon as the shit talk starts crossing, then it's like brings it back down to like a more sort of amateurish. We're into this.
Yeah,
now.
I think it's horses for courses, though. Like, I think some guys can sort of get a bit rattled by it, but others are just like really invigorated by it. The best of them comes out for the challenge, whereas some guys get a little bit sheepish. They're like, oh no.
Yeah, but like even Richie Gray, like he's not a big talker on the field, but even Richie, you can see was going for it as well. And like, there was a few decisions in it where I was thinking, what was the ref up to? And 2 yellow cards to play. They got a red card right at the end, but it didn't matter. It was at least a yellow card. There was 7 minutes to go, so it didn't change a huge amount of the game. But for the way that Glasgow played, stuck in the game, defended like they did, like that's the biggest thing. Everyone talks about their attack. Their defence was incredible. So they'll need that this week going up against the Bulls, which I'm sure we're going to look forward to now. We'll probably talk
just
about
quick.
Bulls
Can we
Leinster.
just close the loop, Ryan, a bit? Just, I know you won't want to do a huge amount praising on Munster, but please just give a quick word on friend of the show and your pal Zeebs, because he has lit up rugby as a whole throughout his career, both on the international stage when he was at Racing and of course at Munster. So give us a little word on our pal.
Yeah, class act, isn't he? And like even away from the rugby field, you see him, like the personality. That's what everyone loves about Zeebs, the personality outside of off the pitch. Not a huge amount of the Irish boys have that, do they? So he's got it. He's got it in spades. Oh, backhanded compliment. But no, he is. He's a legend. And like you saw him after the game, obviously And all the boys, all the Glasgow boys said to me, Wills, what a legend Zeebs is. Like, it's his last game. He's just been knocked out. He obviously wanted a big finish, but he's the first one. Congratulations, boys. You deserve that. Like, chatting to them all. But I think he's still got plenty to give. I don't know why he's hanging him up. I think he maybe said something about his body's giving up on him or whatever, but I don't know. He still looks sharp as, and more to go. But yeah, what a man. What a man for Irish rugby and Munster. And like you mentioned, like places like Raston and stuff. He's a good boy, old Zeebs.
He is a very good boy. Very good boy.
But what we lose on the pitch, we gain outside. He'll be moving into the media stuff. So you'll see him on your TV more. If he does hanging up, so yeah, it's good to get. But he's a class act, and like even the way I saw him afterwards, man, like just with the fans doing stuff with the kids, like in there, just spending all that time after a game like that, your last one with all your family there, and he's in signing autographs, getting pictures with everyone. Class act, Simon Zebo.
Absolute hero. Right, let's move on to another, huge result in that the Bulls beating the team, as Sione put it, beating Leinster. Let me hark back. I'm pretty sure. Did you both see that one coming?
We did call that one.
You both called it, which is really odd.
What?
Wow, I don't know. Broken watch tells the time correctly twice a day. That's fine. You got that one right. Well done, boys.
I like that sound.
There we go. But still, a huge result for the Bulls.
Yeah, massive. And it was, I don't know, you could see how much it meant with the fallout of the media. South Africa, absolutely, like South African press all over it, loving it. Irish press sort of imploding with the loss of both their leading provinces in knockout rugby. And then, of course, Leinster, again, without silverware, people are freaking out in Ireland. But yeah, all credit to the Bulls. They were class. Jake White masterminding with the help of some very cultured feet in LaRue and Goosen, who had outstanding games, just putting it back behind Leinster. And then that monstrous pack, which I've had the pleasure of going down against with Big Steenkamp. He should get a... Lads, I'm telling you, he's been a horrible person to scrum against. So I'm hoping he gets a call up for the Bockies, because I think he's been class. And against that All-Ireland pack, he and Grobler and Big Wilco, mate, Wilco, I swear he gets bigger. He looks like a Ninja Turtle from the Michael Bay movies. Just like all quadricep, horrible bloke. They were doing a job up front, giving Bulls plenty of platform. And then, of course, the rising star at Hanekom. He's a dog. He's absolute so dog. He can't get tired. Everything was on fast forward. That first turnover was freakish, absolutely mental. And then the rest of his game, he just looks like he's in fast forward. He looks frenzied. He looks like he's got rabies or something. Bloke was class. Every contact, every contest is like he's like going full, like all over the gaff. Class player, absolutely.
On top of him, like that back row, like obviously we had Marco van Staden on recently, and he's the one you look at in terms of the name. But Elric Lowe as well, played 7, was just filthy up the wing, bouncing people off, going for turnovers.
They hate producing a back row 4, don't they, South Africa?
They do.
They're really terrible at it.
Just fucking meat men.
Just awful.
Meat. But you're right. Willie LaRue, he wasn't playing 10, but he was stepping up on the left.
Oh, mate, him and Goose.
Yeah. He had the ball on a string, didn't he? Yeah. It's their kicking. It's the way that... Because think, Leinster's blitz defence, right? Leinster are blitzing, so how do you get round it? And they had the ball on a string, just putting it in behind. I called it before, because what I'd said to the boys was, and again, it was like we covered the game from Thomond Park. And the thing with Leinster is they go through so many phases, and it is amazing to watch. They build phases, and then they break teams down. Whereas when you're in the boiling hot sun at altitude, you look at all the South African teams, they score within like 2 or 3 phases, and they score, and that's it. Leinster have to build towards it. I was like, that's not going to help them. If you've got to go through 15 phases to get a score, that you're going to blow a gasket doing it. And the other thing is they actually concede, because they got that blitz defence, they concede quite a few line breaks. So they're always rushing to get back, and their scrambled D is incredible. But Max, you know what it's like when you're scrambling after a line break. That is the worst place to be on earth.
It's
lungs and mind.
Indeed, yeah.
So I called it before. I said, listen, because of that, they're going to put themselves under the pump and find themselves in a difficult place. And even without Kane and Moody, Curtly Aronson, who's been the best attacker in the league.
Surgical steps up. Ooh.
Yeah. And how fucking good was he as well?
Unbelievable, yeah. He was class, just on anything. 50-50s, took it larger than them, proper predator. Like, class game for him in a big knockout match against essentially Ireland. But credit to Leinster, they pulled themselves back into it. But ultimately, it wasn't to be. There wasn't much in it, to be honest. But you could see there was a bit more animation there, like psychologically, I felt from the Bulls.
Well, with that in mind, Max, I mean, we were talking about this South African press exploding over the result and Irish press imploding. A lot of calls for something needs to change. Leo Cullen needs to go. All these sort of things. Yeah, but isn't it incredibly unfair? But in any other world, it's a flick of a coin. They are European champions. We were at that match, guys. Yes, Dupont was magical. Yes, it was an incredibly intense affair, but it could have really gone both ways, ultimately speaking. And even this game, having picked themselves up off the floor, they've gone all the way to South Africa. And again, it was a bounce of a ball. Now I know that's how it works, but do we think it's a bit unfair on a coaching staff that's got them to all of these almost final hurdles over the last few years?
I think you're right. I think there's been a few calls for certain players, coaches, etc. But I don't know how long can it be unlucky for, though. I suppose is, and I think people expect now. And with what we've seen them do and what they do in the international stage, these Leinster players, I don't know. I suppose that's why the press is so frustrated. So I also am sort of sympathetic to that, Mark. But I don't know. I also understand where some of these guys are throwing babies out with bathwater.
That's it. It's the money that Leinster spend. It's the money that they've got, and they spend compared to some of the other teams in the league. People are going, well, how are they not?
I think they're
not producing.
A lot of that's from the other problems in it. There's calls for like Pendergrass to be fast forwarded into the team, etc., and all this. I don't know. It's tough to lay this all on sort of one player's feet, but we'll see what happens.
Would you change it up, boys?
I don't know. Maybe you have to now. Do you? They're so tight though. They still perform so admirably. I don't know. As you said, it's such a bounce of the ball sort of games. They're so in them. They're always competitive. And we're talking about the pinnacle, the apex of all these competitions where they come unstuck. So.
But it just shows, doesn't it? Like form isn't everything. It's like knockout rugby is knockout rugby. You get to the end. It's not like football in the Premier League. If you're top of the league for the whole season, you end up winning it. Whereas with rugby, it's weird that they'd never do that. I don't understand why is there such a difference with football and rugby? Yeah, why is there you can be 8th in the URC but still have a chance to go and win the whole thing?
Yeah, I agree. That is.
As you said, knockout rugby is a different because it's a different beast. Loads of other things come into play, right? The mental side, the unlucky, that bounce of the ball, that red card. Any of those things that can change an 80-minute game. But from an elite sort of player's perspective, guys, and I know we're not going to go too much into the kind of other side of things, but. Can unluckiness get into the mindset ever? Can you genuinely ever believe as a player, man, not that I'm not saying they're cursed, but you look at how close they've got over each season and they haven't quite got over the line for a variety of reasons, a lot of whom was not their fault, really. You'd be thinking to yourself that there's something happening, no?
No, I think in this Bulls game it wasn't the decisions. Whereas you could argue maybe some in that sort of European Champions Cup final, but with this particular game, with what you're talking about, when you start losing, I find those sort of games, it's almost like subconsciously a team can sort of pick up elements of doubt, even if they don't sort of visually portray it or anything. It's just like, how winning's a habit, losing can also become a habit in certain ways. It's a weird sort of phenomenon.
I suppose what makes it massive is you look to the season, and we always spoke about it, didn't we? Coming towards the end of the season, fighting for the top 4, fighting for the top 2 spots. Having that home quarter, home semi is massive, especially when you've got South African teams in it with travel, with altitude, with all the other factors that go around it. So I suppose in the season you push for top. That's what happened right at the end. Glasgow slipped away right at the end. Bulls managed to climb up there and Munster, and Glasgow went and did something completely against the grain. No team really goes and wins an away semi-final. Glasgow have done it. Bulls, rightly so, have managed to get the higher seed. So you get what you want. And I guess that's where we're going into now, building up to a huge URC final that is the Bulls versus Glasgow.
Do you reckon...
You know where I think it's going, boys? Maxi boy?
Yeah. Do you reckon them playing such that sort of young sort of squad throughout the season at like the games they thought they might find difficult to win has sort of bit them in the arse here a little?
Yeah, I do. Like they were talking about before, barely any of that squad had gone down and played down there. Whereas, as Sione just mentioned, Glasgow have been down there 3 weeks ago. They've been there, they've experienced the whole lot. They managed to find a way to come back into the game. And that was a team with, I'm pretty sure, Kurt Leonser and Kane and Moody playing. And Glasgow probably put out, I wouldn't say a weakened team. They didn't put out their full strength squad. So I think so. I think the fact that Glasgow played a lot of their players down there in their game already helps them. Whereas, Leinster, during the season, throwing out bomb squads, maybe that does come to factor towards the end of the season.
Would we, let's put money where our mouth is. Max, what's your prediction for the final?
I want Glasgow to win. But my head, as a rugby sort of head, I do think that Bulls will get it done. I do, mate. I think they're horrible. They are horrible. They're a lovely mixture of sort of technical and tactical nous, and then they've got this like obscene horsepower up front. So I think I'm going to give it to him. I think Xander's got his hands full with the young Steenkamp, and Wilco Lowe's an entity upon himself. And then the battle of the back row will be fascinating. I think the centre partnership of Glasgow are obviously going to be they're into this game. I think that's going to be a problem for the Bulls, having to sort of deal with that. But yeah, that's sort of where I see it going down.
That's it. You said like the big battle of the pack is where it is. That's where their Bulls are coming at Glasgow. But remember how dangerous Glasgow's Maul is. I know the scrum was a bit creaky at the weekend there against Munster, but listen, it's going to be a big old test. But I'll tell you why I think Glasgow can go down there and do the job, shall I? I think with the way they defended at the weekend against Munster, you had people like Max Williamson, who's like 20, 21 years old, just come out of the academy, banging R.G. Snyman off the bench.
Oh, that is big. That's very big.
Banging him as well. Banging him. Oh, at that point, I was trying to keep it cool, but I couldn't. And the dog from Glasgow at the weekend, away at Munster, one of the most hideous places to go and play at Thomond Park, in front of a sold-out Thomond Park. I just see him going down there, and I think the pressure's off Glasgow. I think the pressure was all on Leinster when they went down there. I think everyone's going, they've not won anything for 3 years, they've got to go and do something. Glasgow go down there, at the spur of a drop of a hat, right, we've got to get them all down there. Take it easy this week, get down there. I've got a good feeling. I've got a very good feeling.
Yeah, but the pressure's on everyone, isn't it? It's a final.
Well, I'd say it's more on Bulls at home.
No, I understand
that. The pressure's more on Bulls.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. It's at home. It's at altitude. But come on now. It's a final now. It's big.
It is. You're right. It is a final, and isn't it crazy to think that since the South African teams have come in, Stormers came straight into their first year, had a final at home and won it. Then they was it Stormers Munster last year? And Munster won it, I think it was. And now Bulls could potentially, but I see another Glasgow. I see them doing what we did in 2015. Seeing what we did in 2015. 9 years on, I've got a good feeling. And part of me was like, will I get to this point in the season where I'm like, oh, they're gonna do it? Am I jealous? Like, is there a bit of resentment? They're like, am I looking at it going, oh God, like I wish.
The 7 stages of grief whilst
Because I was saying it to Bex because Bex, I got back from the Munster game and I think Bex was slightly worried. She was like, because I go to games and when they have good wins, I'm like, oh, I wish I was involved. And like even more so at that game, I was like, oh God, what I would have done to be in there. And I think part of me, I came back and I was like, I'm buzzing for the boys. And she was like, that's good. And I was like, yeah, that is good. I was like, why are you saying that? She was like, because I know you want to be involved in it. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I'm happy for him. I think I'm very happy for him. And I feel like they're going to do it, boys. I'm so excited for it. I can't wait to get down to South Africa.
There we go. Well, Ryan, you've also just thank you for telling the world how it looks like you might have matured in your life, finally, according to Bex. Boys, let's take a quick moment now. Ahead of our conversation, we'll have a look ahead to some massive test matches that are coming up over the weekend. But we want to thank our fans who continue to get involved, to engage with our YouTube page, with our Instagram page, TikTok, also answering our form as well. And I just would quite like to run through some of these questions, guys. And if you could give, as wonderfully rounded and pithy, if possible, answers, that'd be great, because then we can crush through all of these questions that we've received from our fans. The first one's from Will. Is 28 too old to start playing rugby? I only ever played in school. Boys?
Absolutely not. Get down to your local club and throw yourself into it.
Bang.
Go on, Will. And send us a video.
Kurt Karoy, what's your safe word? Yes! Ask a question for the pod. With Pacific Islanders making up just over 20% of all professional rugby players worldwide, do you think they should bring back the Pacific Islanders team as they did in 2004, where they injured a load of players from Oz, as a legitimate team to compete in the Tri-Nations and subsequently the Northern Hemisphere tour, and vice versa? Willis, only probably you start us off on this one.
How good would that be? I didn't know they did that.
No, mate, don't you remember the Pacific Islanders?
Yeah.
Bro, one of my lasting memories of the Pacific Islanders was Census Johnston chasing down Ugo Monye. From behind. Census Johnston chased him from behind. Like, he was all 150 clicks of him. Managed to get his pinky finger in, like, the waistband of Ugo's shorts and dragged him down. It was mental. But,
I had to only just start pretending I like rugby since we started this podcast, so that's sort of where my rugby knowledge starts. But I love the sound of it. Can you imagine the destruction that team would cause?
Oh, it was always fun.
That's one to throw out there. Why not? There's a Pacific Nations Cup coming up, obviously, after some of these summer tests. So after that, they could throw it together and go, boys, let's put our heads together. I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up with some of the boys.
Okay,
great shout.
That's a great shout, Kurt Karoy there. Chris Cowland, what's your safe word, Chris? Fine. Season 2 of Gladiators has been approved, so Max needs to become a gladiator. If so, what would be his name and persona? And would his walk-on be him with his rope? You've got Nutface Mark and Plastic Scotsman Wilson, but what's Max?
I'd go, what would the...
Oh.
The Duke.
El Duce.
El Duce.
El Duce. Max. The Duke Lahive. Fabulous. And right, let's go on to the next one. JP, his safe word is succulent. You are entered into the Colosseum in ancient Rome. Gladiatorial combat with your hands, your only weapons. What's the biggest animal you could take the life from and claim beautiful victory without looking like a weakling to the people of Rome? We've sort of touched upon those before, but Max, remind us, what's the weapon? What's the animal that you would take down for that baying?
But I feel like they wouldn't really be impressed by it. But I feel like taking down a decent sized llama could be potentially possible. I think like a timber wolf.
As a type of animal.
Exactly. Well, okay, so we want to go for a carnivore. All right, I'll say like a...
No, you stick with your alpaca.
You stick with your alpaca. The Duke Lahive and his llama. And then you sort of bring that in.
No, Max, I think you stick with it.
But
Go-
fighting a grey
go with
wolf,
what
I reckon you'd be in a lot of trouble with a grey wolf.
You're getting ripped apart. To
Yeah.
the
But hold
enjoyment.
on, a grey wolf is a lot smaller than a llama. So we're
I
talking
know, but
about
it's
size. Go for it.
it's still a large animal.
Yeah, but
It's
I
a
think
predator.
You're better off going with a llama because
Exactly.
it's
Bigger, and I probably got a better chance of killing it.
Yeah, but I don't think you've got a huge amount of time to explain why you've picked the llama. Like, it's a lot bigger than the other one.
Well, can I give you mine? Mine's a horse. You know this is a horse.
It's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous statement. I've never seen a horse. You need to
I
go
can choke a
stand next door. You need to go stand next to a horse.
Sorry, did you mean a shepherd?
There's a reason they
pony
rode
is being
horses
brought
into
in?
battle. They rode horses into other people and mowed them down on the back in tin suits with lances.
I got good grip strength.
Oh my god, they can
Get
get like
these big
700
biceps around
kilos.
riding a horse.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's massive. So there you are.
so-
Or I'd strangle an elephant with its own trunk. That's the other
Okay,
one.
well, no, we're not just. This isn't. Just let's come up with some ideas of how to take down animals, please.
I reckon a caiman. I could do a caiman. If I was swimming with a caiman, I could do a caiman. Caiman alligator. That's it, done. I'm out.
Like, who was
Okay.
that? Ellis Genji or Sinclair that said they could wrestle an alligator?
I think it was Genji, wasn't it?
Yeah, Genji said that. He said he'd like break but all its legs, then he'd jump on top of it and choke it out.
Right, let's go. Next
Move
question.
on. Move on. Jonathan Watt, his safe word is Wigglesworth. Ask a question for the pod. In your opinion, what is the best venue to play rugby at, both club and international? What's the best venue?
I really liked, I haven't played international, but I really liked the Forsyth Bar in Dunedin, you know, the big greenhouse. That was unreal.
Yeah,
With the
never
zoo
played there.
playing against the tiger.
Obviously, other than Murrayfield, because it was the best place for me to ever play, Stade de France against the packed out, against France in a packed out Stade de France. I think it was the whole Colosseum feel about it because you don't see any of the build up. I've told you boys about this before, but you don't see any of the build up because you go underground to get in there, so you don't see anything. You only get into the ground and you do your warm up where there's not really anyone in the stadium, and the next point you come out, there it is, full 80,000 people, incredible, and the French are nuts.
Daniel, whose safe word is mushrooms, has this question: will Italy win the Six Nations before Scotland?
I think they might. I think they actually might because of the age groups are looking interesting nowadays.
Fair play, fair play. And we don't need to ask Ryan that.
It's not a bad shout, to be fair. It isn't. You're right. Like the Italians, everything they're doing at the moment, it's not a bad shout.
Jimmy Corlett, a big fan of the show, is Jimmy. What's your safe word? Maris Boys Rule. Please, can you do a live show in Glasgow, Wills? You know it makes sense.
Don't worry, big man. We'll have one in Glasgow soon. Autumn tests are coming up. We're going to get the boys involved. Wolf Craig have already chatted to me about it. We'll be there.
Fabs. Owen, his safe word is apple strudel. Are you going to get Jack Noel on to talk about some RFU shenanigans? I mean,
What happened again there? Do you
Do you remember the time he got done for the Twitter thing and couldn't say anything? Do you remember?
I thought we talked to him about that.
Yeah, but I think there's been,
Another one.
Since there was a couple of things the RFU had done, haven't they? Back end of the season, I can't remember now, but some stuff, and I feel that now that Noel
he's out.
He's out. We can probably let rip, so we probably should. Let's
Get him
Yeah,
back
let's
in.
do it. But on that note, and this is why these questions are good because they provoke conversation. Am I right in seeing that they brought relegation back into the Premiership next year?
boy.
They did.
Yeah,
They
boy.
did.
How good.
How good is that? That's brilliant.
Makes it spooky.
Not for Newcastle, but that's brilliant.
And what about that for a two-legged playoff to determine where your rugby fate lies between rising?
Yeah,
from
that's
the champ
that's
or
big
down
news,
from
boys.
the
That's
crown.
big news. I like that. I've got a lot of time for that. That's going to make things even more interesting in the Prem next year because I thought this year was brilliant. Like it was such a good season actually, Premiership. How good.
Jay, he says, never you mind, you cheeky wee sausages, for the safe word. Why do you think there's such a focus on creating more entertaining aspects of the game, such as rule changes and clips, and so little on things like expanding the game at grassroots? I think it's a very good question. It's getting more viewership through expanding fans in different parts of the country, not necessarily just the sort of posh schoolboys, such as they have done with France and their grassroots.
Or maybe they've got the wrong. Maybe this guy knows what the crack is. I think the rule changing's been I don't know. I don't think it's that great now. Like, how many meaningful rules have been changed? You know what I mean? It's just sort of potato for a lot of it. I think that's where the true growth and change lies for the sport, in terms of as a brand and visually appeal to more people as like a world-renowned game, is to make it more accessible. The thing about rugby is, I think, to the sort of layman, it is quite I don't know, culturally intense. Maybe it's almost like it's a broad sport, but it's like very niche, and it's kind of the people who play it almost. It's almost like quite off-putting. It's an intimidating game, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I think when you look at it from like the social aspect and the game itself, I certainly was when I first played men's rugby. It's a tough thing to get into. It's not the easiest sport to sort of ingrain yourself into. And then there's the sport itself, which requires a fair bit of lack of self-preservation, etc.
That's why I think you see like walking touch or general touch like getting
Booming.
bigger, because equally I've been asked loads of times, listen, do you want to come and play down at this like lower level for a laugh? And I'm like, couldn't think of anything worse actually, because if I get injured, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
If I get injured, like my job is on the line, you know, you can't do things. You blow a knee out in a match. So that is probably one of the problems with it, is the fact that people worry, and that's, I've got more into it, like as I've done a bit of coaching here. There's a lot of that. So yeah, it's a good question, a good topic, but very serious for this podcast.
Well, and
Mark,
this
have
next,
you got? Yeah, I was
this
going to say
next one is even more
let's do one more.
serious, I'm afraid. So listen to this. What's your name, Kyle? The question is, who has given you the most intense wedgie on the pitch, and who have you given one to unintentionally or not? Thank you,
John Barkley. John Barkley has had mine right up there, Glasgow versus Scarlets, but then I replied with a couple digits.
Unbelievable.
Most intense wedgie. Oh mate, I got squirrel gripped hard by Donncha O'Callaghan against Worcester for Bath. That was bad. And then he's proceeded to treat me like a tent post. So that was good times. Who have I wedgie?
I also, by the way, after I shoved my fingers as far up Bucks' hoop as possible, I then proceeded to stick them up his nostrils.
Oh yeah, have a bump. Oh boy.
And he's like, I said, can you imagine going to the sighting commissioner and being like, so what happened there then? And he's like, look at the footage, and there's my fingers around.
Mate, did you not see that high-profile rugby league thing that guy used to always do it? What was it? I've forgotten his name, but he used to like go.
I'm not sure I'd do it. Yeah, I'm not sure. It would get you to drop the ball, wouldn't it? It'd like, release the ball. Woo! But I'm not sure I'd be doing it to randoms.
Apparently that's the way to stop a dog mauling your own dog.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I can't tell whether is that true.
Apparently it is.
What?
Yeah.
And it works for humans as well, Mark.
No, but you're like running around trying to like this dog's like let loose, and then it's just this stranger who's trying to finger my dog's arse. Right, let's turn our attentions to the international scene, which is back up and running over the weekend. First game between Max's Red Roses over in Eddie Giants territory in Japan.
This is big. Max, you go straight away, because I've got a good feeling about this one.
What, you think Japan are getting that done? No.
Yeah, I think they are.
As we knew,
I can see that.
Off of the back of England, of the last Six Nations cabinet, England were a much stronger force, and I feel like they'll take that into this game against Japan and do an absolute job.
Do you think an absolute job? Right, okay, so you're going for a whitewash from England on Japan. I'm seeing Eddie Jones doing something weird with this Japanese team and finding a way to beat them. I can see it. It's going to be an interesting one. Is there the one test and then they go to New Zealand? So what about New Zealand then? Let's quickly move on from that, because we're clearly complete opposites. When they get to New Zealand then, you surely don't see them doing a job over there.
2-1 to New Zealand. It's a 3-test series.
2 tests, I think.
Is it 2
I'm pretty
tests?
sure they're doing 1 Japan, 2 New Zealand. So
With Harry Randall at scrum half, that's how they'll do it.
I reckon a wounded England flying over from Tokyo to New Zealand after losing to Eddie Jones. Can you imagine the memes after that?
No, I'm going to go 1-1.
Right, okay, 1-1. I'm saying 2-0 to New Zealand on that. I think they've.
Yeah, you're saying Japan obviously are going to do the job over England. Let's just focus on this weekend stuff. South Africa versus Wales, a South Africa side that will have quite a few new faces because they have got some injuries, but also obviously a lot of the players still involved in that Bulls final. But thoughts? Ryan, kick us off.
Well, it's a big one, isn't it? Because it's a double header on Saturday. It's Barbarians versus Fiji. First up, I think. So looking forward to that one. But yeah, I think Twickenham, South Africa versus Wales. I just can't see Wales doing the job, sadly. I think South Africa too strong, even with all their injuries at the moment. They'll be wanting to get a good roll into those island tests that they've got back in the high vault. So I can see South Africa doing the job quite comfortably on Wales.
I reckon South Africa do the job, but people be surprised by Wales.
Okay, fair play. And hopefully our pal Apolele continues his rise through the season, gets himself an extra cap or two, and plays well. And then Barbars Fiji, boys, will just be a festival of running rugby, surely.
Well,
how's strong the Fiji team?
There's a mixture. I think Big Waste Nivea level is playing, but there's like some of the English boys aren't allowed to play. Some of the French boys are still playing because Toulon. So it's a mixture. I think it's a heavily like Ndrua Fijian-based team. So it'll be interesting. I think they get in pretty late in the week as well, Fiji, by all accounts. I don't think they get it till quite late in the week, let's say. I've also spoken to big Leonie Nakarawa today, who's meant to be playing for the Barbars, and he's still in France. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but it'll be a good one.
Keeping there, is he?
No, exactly. He's like Max on steroids, but we will see a good game of running rugby with that for sure. Fijians are going to be throwing the ball about. The Barbars have got some legends in there. JJ, your old mate, Sinks is down there. Thacker. There's second row.
Sam Whitelock is also
Sam Whitelock.
Yeah.
For his ban out.
Big team.
So yeah, it always proves to be a good one, doesn't it? So yeah, looking forward to that.
Worth casting our eyes a bit further forward to arguably the sort of matchup of the summer in terms of intensity. South Africa versus Ireland. We've had it at club level in the URC pretty strongly over the weekend. But yeah, boys, what are our thoughts?
Actually, it's too hard. I don't know.
Got
no idea how to, I think South Africa thinks, yeah, we're going to do some, but there's too many killers in that Irish team. I think it's tight. It's going to be and there's going to be there's so much bad blood. It's going to be awesome.
There is. You're right, Max.
It's going to be filthy. It's going to be death.
Oh, so much skullduggery, as we say. It's just been constant,
horrible.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the amount of forward and back. Oh, the Irish disrespected us. They're going to be so fucking pissed off. They're going to be full of built-on drivers, man. They're going, no, you fucking bastards. I'm going to kill you. Oh, that is a big old couple tests coming up. I see it going one apiece. Is there only two? I think there's only two. I'm going one apiece. I think Ireland, like you said, Max, there's going to be something in it. Who wins the first one? I think maybe South Africa do the first one and Ireland win the second. But certainly one apiece, and they're definitely the ones to watch, aren't they? That is going to be.
Those are I'm going to go one. I'm with you. One apiece. Yeah, one apiece.
And not to let my old mates down, we mentioned it with Sione. Scotland, USA, Canada.
What did you call it? Summer holiday.
Summer holidays.
That's
Do you think Tooney's calling it that? Boys, we're going down. We're heading out. Sione, come and meet us down in the States. We're heading up. Where are they playing? Do you know where they are in the States? Out of interest.
In Washington DC, I think. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So,
Fantastic.
yeah, it'll be cool.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Just give us one name that we'll look out for, a Scottish name that hasn't perhaps lit up the international stage yet, but might just be doing something fun over the summer.
I mentioned him earlier, the young man that belted Ache Snyman, Max Williamson, second row, bright young prospect.
There we go. A huge thank you to you both, as always, and a huge thank you to everyone listening or watching. Continue to spread the word. Head on to our YouTube channel at Maul or Nothing. Make sure you follow us on there, like and subscribe, and also on Instagram and on TikTok. And yeah, we will see you all next week to, break down what is hopefully the biggest party of all parties for the Glasgow Warriors out in South Africa from Ryan's perspective. All potentially a great match anyway, and some of those internationals. But thank you all for listening.
More or nothing.